What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a movie that's coming to theaters February 9th, and it's called The Outwaters. Let's get into it. This is a movie that has a couple of different names attached to it. A part of it is Dread Central, part of it is Screambox, the streaming service, which I have a feeling that movie will be coming to Screambox, but it is out in theaters for February 9th, so go check your listings for February 9th if you want to see this. I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity for me to be able to review this before it hits theaters. So this year I have a feeling that is going to be a new level of horror and a new experience for a lot of different people. That may be good or bad for a lot of people. We've got movies like Skinamarink that has just hit the theaters, and this movie that's set to hit February 9th in your theaters called The Outwaters. A lot of people are comparing the two movies, and that means that this is a new kind of experience that involves a lot of audio and some video. Now, this one, The Outwaters, from what I gather, I haven't seen Skinamarink yet, so I can't speak for that, but I will be doing a review this week. Oddly enough, we're doing two reviews of similar movies in the same week. So now these are completely different stories, mind you, but the experience element that you're going to be getting into is very familiar in a lot of ways. And I can see that. The Outwaters is a movie that is about a group of kids who go out to shoot a music video in the Mojave Desert, take what it seems like LSD while they're out there in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly a strange phenomena starts to take over and shit gets really bad. The end of this movie was pretty fucking wild, and I kind of fucking loved it, so holy shit, man. Now, something else that's also familiar with these two movies, and I hate to compare them, it's hard not to because this is like such a new, I feel like we're, like I said, on the precipice of this new experience in filmmaking, and these two directors, which this director is Robbie Banfitch, and of course the director of Skinamarink, are bringing us to the brink of a new auditory sort of horror filmmaking experience. These are movies that deal very heavily in the sound production and the sort of vibe and experience. Now, if you've ever seen some movies that have like a sound, like a really good score, or like, you know, a soundtrack that's like humming and building and popping and makes you feel unnerving just in itself. And some of the best movies I've ever seen have the best sound when it comes to that, you know, whether it's out in the middle of the forest or, you know, just in a humming sound that is like kind of growing and kind of building. It just stirs something in you that I think that is very important in filmmaking. I think a lot of times movies miss this element and they don't spend enough time to develop it. First of all, the story of The Outwaters for me, I do want to explain. The Outwaters for me really got me interested because I have many times gone and experienced, you know, going out into the wilderness with some extracurricular stuff.
Bad trips on LSD. It was like a nightmare.
And had some pretty wild experiences where I almost became one with nature, thought I was a lion, and many, many very interesting stories that I will not share in this review. Let's just say, yeah, it was interesting. And my experience with this movie wasn't too far from that. Immediately, I'm already into what this movie is going to be about. And it's essentially this camera guy who is basically going out to film this girl's music video, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. The movie is 2 hours long. You spend the first half just getting to know the characters and just kind of just living in their world, which I think is very important to kind of saturate yourself in. And there's a slight sound changes that are going on. So if you are a person that has phonophobia or misophonia, then you will probably lose your fucking shit when you watch this movie. It is something that I wore my headphones and I cranked up.
11,
And most of
11, and
the
then
amps go up to 10.
exactly.
I highly recommend that if you go to see this in the theater, you pick one with really good sound system. You know, it's a found footage film, but it is shot in a way that isn't exactly the most, linear. It's not done in a way that they're always holding the camera. It is done in a way that is very realistic. The actors in the movie and some of the people, which I assume is probably even family members, did a really good job. It all felt very authentic and real. And that's super important to me in a movie. If I smell even a hint of meh, it kind of ruins the experience. We've got movies like The Blair Witch, Skinamarink, even The Last Broadcast, things like this. These are groundbreaking films that you may not watch all the time, but they are an experience. And I think that's exactly what this film is going for. The director, Robbie Banfitch, actually saw the movie Willow Creek, which is by Bobcat Goldthwait, I believe. And it's his Bigfoot found footage movie, and it inspired him. And of course, the Blair Witch as well. You're going in for the experience. This movie, there was like 4 people on this trip, and man, it's so hard to explain this movie without spoiling it. All I'll say is that there's a phenomena going on out there, and it is unsettling. And the sound design is so good. It makes the movie just that much better. I was locked in. This isn't always going to be a movie for everybody. And that's, I know it's an overused term, but it really isn't. Like, if you are not the type that's not open to enjoying some sort of horror in a new experience that doesn't do the typical storytelling elements like a movie you would normally see in the theater, this may not be for you. The fact that it takes a good 50 minutes to get this movie starting to go, even though there are elements present in the background that I notice that make you feel uneasy. It definitely builds to something, and the end is pretty fucking tragic. But yeah, it doesn't go around explaining everything to you, and it's really how you would experience horror anyway. To me, the unknown is probably the scariest goddamn thing you could fucking find. This is one of those movies that's going to be like that. It's going to be something that is, an experience. Don't know what's going on. It's not going to answer a lot of questions, but by the end, you're going to be horrified by what you feel like you think is happening here. Now, I don't know how to score a movie like this. It's like, in 10 years, am I going to watch this again and go, oh yeah, this was so great? Or am I going to be like, this was the one that started it all? Or Skinamarink was the one that started it all? Robbie Banfitch is somebody who actually said that he just saw Skinamarink like a couple of weeks ago, and he loved it, and he had no idea. So this is something that is organically happening between 2 directors that know not of each other and are organically putting this out. And I think to myself, like The Blair Witch and The Last Broadcast, and how those 2 movies kind of came out around the same time. And it was just a sort of inevitability of trying to push the boundaries in horror. If you are an audiophile of any sort, I think this will be a very disturbing film. The visuals are disturbing. There are things on the screen. It's not, like I've heard, and I don't know for sure, that in Skinamarink, a lot of it is wall shots. There are some of those elements in this movie. You're in a tent, you don't see everything that's going on, but you see little elements of it as the flashlights are shining on the ground and there's specks of blood and weird things happening in the background. That is kind of how this movie develops its atmosphere, which is probably extremely thick, by the way. If you're paying attention, this isn't a movie you're going to pop on in the background and, check your phone. It's something that you really should just turn out the lights, put on the fucking, if you're in the theater, obviously you can't use your phone, so, but you know what I mean? Like, this is a movie you're going to want to lock in. It's not a typical film. If you're a fan of Skinamarink, it's pretty safe to say you're going to like this movie. I think this is fucking cool as shit. And I just am fascinated with how they made it. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this film. I will definitely be watching Skinamarink this week, which the director highly recommended as well, because I watched an interview with Robbie Banfitch, who said to do it. So he doesn't mind the comparison. I'm not going to mind the comparison either. We're just fortunate to have these 2 movies out this year. So I'm ready for some new experiences to see what it's like. And yeah, maybe it'll be for you. Maybe it won't be. This movie is gory. It does have gore, and it does have there is some nudity and stuff in that. It's pretty heavy by the end, guys. So just buckle the fuck up and enjoy the ride. I would have to give this movie probably an 8 out of 10 because I've never seen anything like it. And it's not a movie that I will pop on every week or something like that. But if I were on acid, holy shit, this movie would fucking destroy me. I'd probably shit my brains out. But other than that, thank you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If this is your first time here, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and let me know what you think. But other than that, thanks for coming by. And as always, long live the void.